Welcome back. Here we are with number 3 of the 5 engines that Richard sent to me to work on. And just for review, we started with a 525 AC from 1951. Then we moved to a 336 Northern, which I believe is from 1953 or 54. The number in the shell has been painted over, so I can't know for sure. But that one is temporarily put back there because I'm waiting on several parts. It's ending up being quite a bit more to do with that one. And now before us is a 332 based on the linkage and the fact this is an SIT. This is probably a 47, 46, 47, probably 47. We're going to get started here. A couple things that I'm seeing right off the bat that makes me a little nervous. So look at this. Boy. Oh boy, oh boy. Hopefully that's something I can fix. Yikes. Wonder how that happened. Let's see what the other side looks like. I was going to run this thing, but okay, that side looks... that one's split too. Okay. Well, I'm going to see if this thing will run, but I'm going to take it real easy because I'm not sure what's going to happen with the crossheads split like that. Oh, maybe I'm not going to run this. Let's see, we've got wire came out. Well, okay, so I'll bring it back here once I figure out how to jumper stuff out here to try to get power to the motor. Okay, so I think I applied power. It's a little hard to tell, but the motor's not turning. It's not trying. I'm not hearing reverse action going. No headlights. So let's see. Maybe I'll move this wire around a little bit. It's just sitting in the pinhole now. Still no headlight. Nothing. Well, at least we got a smoke unit and smoke, so that's cool. So, all right. So in this case, instead of focusing on the tender first, I'm going to focus on the engine first. And go ahead and try to get the shell off here, examine the crossheads, guides, see, hopefully I can get those fixed. I've never really seen that. It's puzzling to me that on both sides the top one is bent up versus the bottom one being bent down. I don't really, how does that happen? If anything, I would think it would be the opposite way, but anyhow, that's with the state of things. So I will bring you back once I have an update. All right, so here we are back. I've taken the motor loose. I'm jumpering it directly, and it's running reverse units, cycling. It's running both directions. Now check out how wacky that commutator smacking around. So this makes me quickly want to do two things. So first of all, I want to add some sort of a thrust washer because we've got enough play in there to at least add one. Let's see here. I think I would add it. Yeah, I'd add it here at the back. So we need to put at least one thrust washer back there. The other thing I want to do is take a look at this. Now, if I back this camera back here, and I speed this up, I don't know how easy it is to see, but this front axle is causing problems, okay? and that's causing intermittent resistance as the wheel goes in circles, which is what's throwing the armature back, slamming it back against the brushes and springs. So if we take this up like this, look at that crazy gap. So for some reason, we've got wheels that are spread apart too far. So that's one issue. Another issue I want to check into is to see if we've got our wheels quartered correctly. If the wheels aren't quartered quite right, if they're just a tiny bit off, you will get that kind of whack thrusting going on like we're seeing right there. So we'll see. That's going to be the next thing I'm going to check here. But unfortunately, I need two hands to do that. And so I will bring you back once I figure out what's going on here. So here's the situation. Both wheels were loose on this axle, and this insulator is in such bad shape. I'm gonna try to replace it. I only have two, and I'm hoping one of these will work. But I'm gonna replace this insulator if I can get one of these to fit, and then I'm gonna repair these wheels on this axle. I'm going to put a tiny bit of epoxy in there, and then I'm going to use my quartering tools to get everything quartered. And we're going to get this guy in great shape for you. It's tired. This is a pretty early one. It's definitely, boy, I don't know that it's 46 unless these brass buttons were taken out. I mean, this one's got a lot of miles on it. And, I was looking at the treads on here. I mean, everything's seen a lot of rail time. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying. So, thought I'd let you know that's what's going on. Another update on our I'm pretty sure 1946, late 46, 322 Hudson. And just to kind of catch you up, last time we were looking at some front wheels that were loose. I've added a tiny bit of epoxy. I've recorded those wheels so that when I attach the side gear or side rods, everything will be in the correct alignment. It's really important to have a jig when you're doing that kind of thing because it's hard to do it without one. This is a armature like the one in here, and I maybe should have taken the video out while I was doing that. But as you can see, this one has a kind of a recess around the middle. So when I was going to add thrust washers, I really couldn't put them on this side because what would happen is and they're tough to find because you've got to have a large inside opening but a small rim, because if the rim comes into contact with these plates, you're going to have a dead short. And all of the thrust washers I had, that was the problem. So I couldn't put any on that side. So instead, I stacked three fairly thin ones on this side. Now by doing that, I removed all of the slop front to back. See, it still moves a tiny bit, which you want a little bit, but it was moving a strong 1/8 to a 3/16. And so by doing that, we get a little bit better performance forward and backwards. But also adding a little bit of lubrication, cleaning things. This is what we've got now here. That's forward. And that's reverse. You heard the RPM. There we go. Okay, so we got just a little bit of break-in that needs to happen since I've moved the motor, and the brushes have to reseat and all that. But it's maybe a little hard to tell on the video, but this motor is completely wound out. It is free running. So obviously there's very little resistance on it right now, but we can drop this down to nothing. You've got the resistance of the rollers is about it. But if we pick it up, maybe get a little help to get going. It should. It's a lot easier said than done here. So yeah, my throttle is basically in standby mode. In this mode, it provides a tiny bit of current, which basically keeps the reverse solenoid from dropping. And you can see in the light bulb how very small that is. This would be a 14 volt light bulb. So very, very small amount of current. And again, there's very little resistance, but this is what we're after. This is what I want to see. I want to see an engine that runs smoothly, is able to run very fast. I like to listen to the sound a motor makes, and I'm listening for a pretty high RPM whine, which it wasn't doing before. In reverse for sure. It's getting close to it in forward, but now it's doing it both directions. All right, so making some progress. I need to reattach the reverse unit. I also noticed that this metal rim is loose, so in other words, I can spin it on this tire. It's not super easy, but it does move. So I'm going to want to re-glue that rim to the tire. So anyhow, it is kind of what you get with this stuff that's been around for this long. It just needs a little bit of TLC, but we'll be up and running here in no time at all. The rear wheel's epoxy, or front wheel's epoxy. I've got one rear wheel tread reaffixed that was loose. I was just about ready to get the reverse unit back together as it should, and thought, I didn't look at those reverse fingers. I probably should do that just to make sure, because everything worked well. So I thought, oh, they're probably in good shape, but I don't know how well you can see, but there's a pinhole, and the one beside it has a pinhole, which it's really hard to see because I've got shadows and wires in the way. And then the ones down here, which these are, for reasons I never fully understand, the ones in the front or the ones below typically are the ones that have the most wear on them. I, again, don't understand. And there's pinholes in the one. It looks like the one in the middle may not, but they're pretty thin. A little bit more research was done, and while the chassis on the engine is definitely a 46 variety, the lettering on the tender says it's a 47. So I'm going to continue to stick this as a 46-47 hybrid. But before us is the smoke and tender unit. This motor runs beautifully. Everything is very, very well functional. I see no cracks or problems with what has been replaced. That's not original material, but there's nothing wrong with it. The motor, all I did was do a little bit of lubrication to it, and if I barely crack the throttle, it starts to roll, which is to me just outstanding. And we've got smoke with the throttle barely cracked. I just find that just tremendous. That's so cool. Here's about 50% throttle. Again, that's nice chuff sound, pretty good smoke already. Let's go to 75%. There you go. Smoke's getting to be a little bit heavy. Go to 100%, and now your train room is going to be filled with smoke. So pretty awesome example of a wonderful piece of technology from 1946-47, and just love this piece. It's a great piece. Well done, Richard. This is a fantastic SIT. So one little thing that was going on with this engine is the wire came out of the pin. And so what I try to do with these is keep everything original. So I carefully, tediously split and open up this pin, and then do what I need to get the old wire, oftentimes solder, insulation, all that stuff out. Okay, so that's part one. Part two then is to trace this wire, because by this point it's pretty short, so it needs to be replaced. There's no point in trying to add to it. So that means taking the smoke unit SIT off and tracing where this wire goes, and it goes under the chassis here. And in the school they got a wire chase. It goes all the way here to the back. So what I need to do, I've got fortunately some new replacement cloth covered wire. So I'll go ahead and get some of that and cut to the appropriate length, and heat this up. These are always a challenge. You got to have a soldering iron that gets really hot. pretty quickly because you need to heat the system, and there's always heat being wicked away, but you need to get it hot enough to get the wire off, get the new one on without destroying the insulation that's rubber. So that's fun. Hi, Richard. After I put everything back together, took it to the layout, all excited to see it in operation, the SIT didn't want to run. And so here we are, back again. And here's the culprit. This brush has a groove in the end, and part of that is broken off. So that means the wiper that powers the motor keeps slipping off of the correct post or the correct location. So fortunately, I have another brush that has the groove in the end. Boy, these things are so tiny. There we go. So I'll go ahead and put that one in its place, and we should be off and rolling.